up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to the Sports and Business Live podcast. This is your host and co-host, Mike and Diego.
How's it going?
What's going on, man?
Oh, living the dream, staying busy. What about you?
I enjoyed my rest day today. Um,
Good, good.
just relaxed. I guess you know how it is working in construction.
Yeah, it wears you, especially with the hot weather too.
Oh my gosh. Hey man, like sometimes like when the sun is beating down on you and like do you know about working with bricks and like the mortar boards and
Maybe not the mortar boards, but like interlock and stuff. It's probably not similar to like how you're doing it, but
okay.
yeah,
Well, yo, like when you're supposed to wet the mortar boards so when you put the mortar on it, like it doesn't dry up too fast.
yeah.
When I'm putting my hand in the water to like get like a cup of water, I'm just thinking about the beach.
You're like, I can't wait to be out of here. Can't
I
wait
want to be on a beach. I'm like, yo, I want to be in the water so badly.
to just go to jump in.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. So what's going on when you know, last week we spoke about borrowing money, right? Borrowing to invest in your future.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was a really good podcast. We got into it pretty deep. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, this week. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so you said you had found a few um information on it and wanted to speak
Yeah,
about.
yeah, because we were looking on like the credit side, like we were talking this week about like improving credit, working on credit. I know a lot of people they're behind the eight ball like when they're younger, and
Yes.
there's a few things you'd be able to kind of do to increase your credit, even though you're at a younger age. So like people are over 18, they're able to officially go and get their own personal credit, whether it's credit card or I mean depending what they qualify for, right? So one like really important thing that a lot of people don't really think of is whatever your credit limit is. So if let's say 15,000 is your credit limit, they try to keep track of how much you go over a certain percentage, and a lot of times that certain percentage is 30-35%. Always try to keep it below 30% because when they see you going over your 30% credit amount, they kind of take you as like you're a little higher risk, so
Mm,
they keep your credit score a little bit lower.
mm,
So like just with the 15 grand, try to keep it 4,500 and below.
mm.
Obviously, if you have to, you have to for circumstances. But yeah, it really matters on like the percentage of how much credit you utilize every single month. If you're going over that consistently, even though you're paying it off, excuse me, even though you're paying it off on time, the bureau they're not fans of that. So try to keep it below that amount. It'll help with your credit score. Pay it off on time. Don't miss any payments. If you have to, do the minimum payment, like we were saying. Um, don't miss a payment because those are not great.
So
Um,
don't miss payments. And when you go over 30 or 30 to 40%, or let's just say 30%,
mhm.
does that hurt your credit score? Or does it
It
ding
like
it?
yeah, I mean it doesn't affect it drastically.
Okay.
Um, it's more if you're doing it consistently.
Mm,
Um, that you're always having a large limit because I guess their thought process is the more that you're spending, the more risk you would have of something going wrong with your finances,
mm,
right? So they're just like, okay, we're gonna just keep extra monitor on it. So like it doesn't drastically affect it, but it could affect it if you're literally looking at the points going up, especially if you're trying to build credit, something that you really need to look after, right? Because a lot of people they start off with having bad credit, but they keep using that. Oh, they go over the 30%, and they're like, it's not increasing as much as it should be. I don't know what's going on. That's one.
right.
That could be one of the reasons. not increasing as much as you'd want.
Right.
You know?
So you have to be 18. Well, at least um, I think you had mentioned you have to be 18
Yeah, yeah,
to start building your credit. If you're doing it by if you're solo, right? You need to be 18, right? But
yeah, yeah.
can you
So
start
like
building it earlier than 18? Is that possible?
earlier, yeah. So I was doing research this week because I'm looking for my kids, seeing if I what I could do to help with their credit. Like I know when I was younger, I guess credit score, like I guess it mattered in the 90s and early 2000s, but
Yeah.
I guess the information wasn't very, no one could just look up that information before the internet. And when I got my first credit card, you know, old school way, paid off on time, don't use it very much, and slowly, slowly, my credit got really good. But like so now, not sure when this was in place, but you could add your child as like an authorized user, and they don't need to be over 18. They could be under 18, and that'll help them when they become eligible at 18 to have a better credit score. So it's really never too early to start. You know, I'm not saying give them access to the credit card. I mean, put their name on it and make sure you're paying it on time like you normally do. It'll kind of give them an extra, you know, assist when they become of age, right?
Right.
Obviously, at 18, you don't want to just give a child a credit card and be like, go crazy, because they still got to learn, the basis of being an adult, and
Right.
with your credit's really important, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, like the point of that, it's similar to insurance. Um, when because if you have no history, it's all about the history, right? When you have no history on your insurance, and the first time you get a car, just like for me in my case, when I was 25, I got my first car. My
Yep.
insurance was like 300 and some dollars.
Yep.
So, um, so one way to assist, let's say, for you, your son, if you put him on your insurance, um, he gets to build that history. So then when he gets his car, it won't be as, I
It's
guess,
not
as
as bad. Yeah.
yeah,
Still not great. I know for males, it's not great.
yeah,
I started off when we when we both started off, it was bad.
right. But that way, but at least he gets that little bit of a, I don't know if it's called an advantage, but
Oh, for sure. Are you talking about like the insurance or like the credit score?
well, for insurance, yeah, I guess if it's a credit score, it'll be more of an advantage or like
Sure.
or just a better head start. Maybe that's the
Yeah.
best way to put it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For sure. And it's good to start early too. Like obviously, like the authorized user is a good idea, but it's like teaching your kids the right way to deal with money and deal with credit. Um, Teaching them how to, take care of their finances is really important. I know, I know. We talked about, it doesn't happen in school. It has to be from the parents going out and teaching their kids that, because that's how I learned. Didn't learn any of this stuff in school. So
Yes, and that's a good point you bring up. 'Cause when I think about what I went through in school, I'm talking about from elementary to high school.
yeah,
I mean, the teachers there, like, I'll be honest with you, they did their jobs. I
of
mean,
course,
they taught us the basics because that's all they were paid to do was just to teach us the basics.
yeah,
However, though, when it comes to actually, for example, if you wanted to become a master of the sport, you don't go to the education system. They're not there for that. Like,
it's
like
self-taught.
last, yeah, another example is that this past week, me and your son, we did a training together, right?
Yep.
And I got a question for you, right?
Uh oh.
Um, no, 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 no. It's not a hard question, but like you put your son through the program, right? That
Yeah.
in the summer, or I mean, like a month or 2 months ago, and now he's with me now, training, alongside me. Like, which program do you believe is benefiting him the most?
I think because obviously one-on-one it's such a big thing, because a lot of times if you're in a group setting, yeah, okay, the one big advantage was in a group setting you could at the end have a scrimmage where you're playing 4 on 4, 5 on 5. That's really good practice for him. But when you're in a group setting and there's 40 kids and you're doing stretches or you're doing simple drills, the effort sometimes isn't there and you can't catch that, right? So uh, the way that the practices were going for my son, it was he was able to kind of skip and glide through the practice where a lot of the stuff that he needed to work on, they were doing the right drills. The drills were great, but he needed that a little extra. No, you're not doing it. You got to go straight. You can't curl to the right. Simple stuff where he was not essentially lacking, but they didn't. It was hard to focus on 20 kids at once, right? That one-on-one is super important because you're able to kind of like the slight bad habits in on the basketball court, which everyone has. You try to correct them, and that's how you do it during training. So like I think that's a big thing.
Well, yeah, I guess the point is that he's able to um, focus on mastering certain steps. Like
Exactly.
that's my point I want to try to get to.
Yeah, yeah.
So in
It's
the
more
schools,
generic and
so in the school system, you're not focused on those mastering certain things or certain knowledges of the system, right?
yeah,
So this is where outside of that, you need to go find someone like a teacher or whatever, or hopefully in your case, like the parent is able to understand that knowledge
mm-hmm.
and apply it and pass it on to your child, right?
100%.
Yeah. So,
Just off of like the credit side alone,
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of adults out there that have not great credit, and like you go through a bunch of like you talk to so many people and that's their biggest hurdle, and that's a lot of times is what's stopping people from being able to start their real estate portfolio, buy a house for themselves, kind of start the process of building like passive income and an investment, like investment properties. And it's sad because it's like it's for the most part, if you just pay attention, you'll have good credit. Like if you do the right things, you know you're smart with your money, a lot of times that's all it needs. It just needs time and you building it up, right? So that it's a little sad because you want to like, why wouldn't this be in high school? This should be in high school.
Yes, yeah,
100%. That's right when you start. Credit matters.
yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, we're here to teach people if need be.
Yeah, and so just to recap, right? Um, if you can have your child, son or daughter, as an authorized user on your credit card, you should do it.
100%.
So it gets them in the system
Hmm.
so they can start building their history. Um,
Right
I
when
mean,
they're
if
really
not at
young, you have
18,
so much more options. That's the best
yeah.
part of it too.
I mean, and if not at 18 years old, if because some parents have different beliefs, it happens. They have different beliefs. Um, at 18, once you're eligible of age to get your own credit card, you should do that. You start with what, a $500, usually a Capital One, I believe. That's what I
Yeah,
started with.
you started with that. I think I started with like a CIBC
Yeah,
classic card. It's like a student card. I think I
yeah,
still have it. And it was like
yeah,
I think it was like yeah, like $500 minimum.
yeah.
Use
They
it,
usually
pay it
start
off.
with
Use
student
it, pay it
cards.
off. Be on top of it as best you can, like as much as possible. Not as best you can, the best you can.
Yeah,
On track of it.
right. Yeah, so you just get that card and start building your credit from there. Um, I mean, that way, I mean, at least better late than never. And 18 is still not a bad age to start doing that. Some people have not even thought about credit until they're like 25, 26. So,
And that's the thing. If you're in that position too, Mike, if you're 25 and you haven't thought of it, your credit's probably not great. They even do prepaid credit cards. So you
mm,
put in money into the credit card. So it's essentially almost like a debit card, but they consider it a credit card. That's also a good way to build your credit when you're 25, 24, and you're like, oh crap, I need better credit right now. That's a
mhm.
way of starting to kind of build it up. So it's the same thing at any age. If something happens where unfortunately, things happen in life, and you don't have great credit, that's always the best way to start building the credit up.
Yeah. And so that way, that's where funding comes into place, as we talked
Hmm.
about last week.
Hmm.
Um, I guess, well, is it funding or borrowing? Or maybe it's two different. Well, it's the same thing. Because when you're
Yeah.
getting is a mortgage considered borrowing, right?
Yes. Yes. So like my clients, they're borrowers,
Yeah,
right? So I work with the lender and the borrower, the client.
right. But if it's like a business, I'm getting money for like a loan for a bit, that's like more like funding. Or maybe it is borrowing too. I don't know. That's a
Like, yeah, they're funding the house, like the rest of, like you're putting in the down payment,
yeah,
they're funding the rest of it.
yeah.
So I guess you could use it for both. Like words
Yeah,
are very similar, so like it kind of falls in line. You're funding your business, you know.
yeah. And would you say, because being in the financial field, if you were to, I guess, paint a picture to the folks out there, would you say think about it as like a report card, like in school?
Your credit, oh for sure,
Yeah,
because you know it takes a while to get things off your credit bureau. Like missed mortgage payments are horrible. They look really bad. A lot of lenders shy away from it, even though your credit could be better. A lot of people don't like that. Um, you also, if let's say you're working with a broker, and then you don't like the answer from one broker, and you go to multiple brokers or you go to six banks, every time they pull your credit, it pops up. So if you've pulled your credit, or a bank or a mortgage broker's pulled your credit 9 times in like a year,
mm,
the lenders don't like that as well. So it's you really have to be careful on like hard pulls and soft pulls
yeah,
and all those things. It's really important.
right. Yeah, because this all plays a big factor in you, owning your own home, right? Now just think about it, like from the time when you're in elementary school, like it has that much of effect on you.
For sure.
Where like if you're able to utilize put your child with you on that authorized card, build up their credit history, and hopefully they can maintain or even improve on it as they go along in
For
life,
sure.
and then get a mortgage, right? And then able to get even equity out of that, and then even get a second, or is it sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it a HELOC or a second property? Well, like I guess, well, I think a HELOC.
HELOC is a home equity line of credit, so you could get a line of credit off of the equity on the property that you own,
Right.
or like that would be considered like a refinancing on the property that you own.
Wow. Okay.
and then and then you could essentially purchase another property with another down payment, the money that you saved up.
Okay. So with that being said, that brings us to the conclusion of this episode, and hopefully, uh, people can see the importance of actually starting early on your credit score. It, it just it's all gain. I don't see I don't see anywhere where they lose. You know what I mean? Would you agree with me? Like,
Yeah.
there's no losing with this information,
Oh, 100%.
right?
You got to teach your children this stuff, or else they're going to go they're going to go into adulthood behind the eight ball. And by the time they
Exactly.
learn it, they have to take another year or two to build it back up again. It's better to start early, get them on track, and put them in the best position to be successful.
Yeah. And so get your children on your authorized credit card, build up their history. And for those young students out there at age 18, you know what? Get your credit card, build up your credit. Be wise, of course, be smart,
Mhm.
and start showing a good history to these lenders. So, you know, so when you do need a big funding or a mortgage, whatever that means, you can utilize the system to your advantage.
Yep.
All right. And so, this was Mike and Diego on Sports Business Life Podcast, and we out. Peace.
Peace.